as our agenda is concerned, we just came back from a great facility that Tom put together for us at the dentist facility. And we should probably have a quick, conversation about what we saw as highlights, what we learned from that, just to share that with anybody that's actually watching or looking at this. Hank, do you want to start and talk about what you thought was great about that?
Oh, I thought it was interesting. I don't know how much of it is directly applicable. I think it was key that he highlighted the fact that make sure you provide enough room. Sounds like he's trying to say don't try to nickel and dime it. But sooner or later you're going to run out of space in the normal scheme of things.
Yeah, good. How about anything else?
No, I think it was interesting and a good trip.
Good. Great. Mike?
I think from the use of space at the interior, especially relating to the shop and workspaces, I felt like there was a lot of dead space that could have been better utilized. But I mean, I think overall the scale of the project seems to fit their needs. I just felt like some of the square footage was there for the taking and was not available.
Yeah.
And I was also struck by the amount of outside storage required for stuff that needs to be outside, like the bins for the stone and for all the various aggregates, drainage piping, a plethora of stuff that is needed on some sort of a regular basis. And I was struck by the amount of space required just for that particular
For the outside
stuff.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Good. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, I had kind of the same impression that there seemed to be, could have been a more efficient use of the space in there. I thought it was very helpful that David had pointed out those issues about flexibility, and no matter what you plan for, I mean, there's always something that comes along. Either it's a piece of equipment or it's somebody else that needs a space to work as part of the operations. I think that was that I think is important to remember here, despite the fact that we are putting everybody together for the first time ever, and we're going to a dramatically different management style here. I think that was a good point to have that flexibility and have something left over for whatever that unanticipated circumstance that comes up. I was kind of struck by the warm storage. That seemed to be pretty adequate for what they had. I noticed just being in the yard there, I mean, they had a fair amount of heavier equipment than we do in Orleans. I mean, we don't have 10-wheelers, and I don't think we're probably going to need that sort of thing, but it seemed to be adequate for the kind of gear that they were storing. Salt shed was that was also pretty nice. Obviously, building of another era, but I was impressed. That struck me as being a good size for what they wanted to do. And here again, kind of the key thing was to compare the number of road miles or the miles of road that the town has. I thought that was kind of gave an interesting scale to the two operations, because obviously they are very, very similar. Was also struck by what wasn't in there too, and which was things like cemetery and some of their water facilities and other utility type things are outside of that campus. So I thought it was it seemed to be pretty efficient for what it was. Obviously could be tuned up a little bit, but
that meeting room, they use that very well, but it had the downside of having to wall everything off. So there was a lot of hallways and closed doors and other things. It seems like the way that Weston has designed that, Tom and Weston have designed our meeting room, it seems maybe it's a little more accessible to the public to make that happen. Just like you, a lot of hallways, I think our more open plan might work a little bit better than that.
The problem there may have been that they were, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh,
but
no.
That meeting room it also doubles as a public
Yeah.
meeting room, has to have access to the two toilets down the hall.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's right.
I suspect that probably caused some of that to happen.
That's a good point.
And I don't think,
Good point.
we didn't specifically ask the question, but their beach sticker thing, obviously that happens someplace else.
Someplace else, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like. He didn't
So-
mention it at all.
Right.
Yeah.
They also don't have, what did he say? He had 15 beaches, was it? Did I remember
It was
that?
20.
15 or 20 beaches? I mean, we've got half a dozen,
Yeah.
but they're miles long, and
Yeah,
and there's...
high volume.
It's, whole different beach operation. So that, here again, that was not there, which we will have.
Yeah. I think what they had was, when they originally planned the building, after the building was built, it looked like he got a bunch more departments that he had to accommodate.
Yeah.
So that was part of his concern, and that's why I heard loud and clear when he kept, he was making a point, which I think was a good point that Hank brought up, that, plan for growth. But then again, he pulled in a bunch of departments. In Orleans, you're not going to be pulling in any more departments. Sewer is outside, and it's not something we're supposed to be taking a look at. But, so I think we've got everybody. There's no other departments you could possibly pull in, right?
But nonetheless, we're going to have, it's also pretty evident that we're going to have, wastewater is going to be part of this operation somewhere,
Yeah.
of our operation.
Yeah. So maybe we should, at some point, we should put that on the agenda and talk about that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
And one of the takeaways that I got from today, from listening to, I can't think of the guy's name anymore, but
David?
David, yeah, but I thought he made a very valid point, is that the spaces for storage and so forth should be built big enough so that if
They have
the
to be
use
converted.
needed to change,
Yes.
the storage could literally go in a container somewhere if it had to.
That's right. That's a great
So
idea.
you're not adding on to the building to accommodate growth, you're maybe hiring a rental storage trailer to, but anyway, so I thought that was a legitimate point.
Yeah, the thing that was most interesting was how small the garage was relative to how big a town they are and
Yeah.
what services they offer, and the fact that they do pack them in there, and the way they park by packing those in there, and that wasn't really a concern of his. He
Right.
really didn't. I mean, he didn't flinch when he talked about that. He saw that as kind of a way of doing business. And it didn't cause, during storms, I think Tom asked a really good question, how does this affect you during storms?
Right.
He said, no, we planned for it, in case there was a, he really had some good answers of, in his experience, it isn't a challenge to park that way, to kind of park those together.
And it's funny how the common denominator of HVAC equipment has shown up on both sites that we saw. I mean, in my mind, I think this is a no-brainer. I think we should be locating that stuff up, on mezzanines in the warm storage garage portion of the building.
Well, I think what we heard was that we don't have to have any air handling in the garage.
No, not in the garage, but location of HVAC equipment for the adjoining spaces.
Oh,
Whether it's
okay, I
administration or for the
Gotcha.
Vehicle service base. I think that definitely seems to be the preferable way to handle that.
Good, excellent. Just a reminder, in Chatham, they don't have parks and recs and beaches or buildings that fall under the DPW in Chatham.
Right.
Those are the two areas they don't have in Chatham.
Right.
So as we take a look at things and do a comparison, that's something to think about.
Nor did Dennis.
No, Dennis, none of the facilities we've seen are gonna take on as much,
As this.
house as much management,
Right.
process that we're
Yeah.
Dennis has
proposing
golf
here.
courses too, which
Right.
get
Yeah.
involved somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we don't
They
have
do
one of
use all
those.
those people when they're
They're not under
plowing.
his purview.
Not there.
Right.
They're not the
Yeah.
facility.
They-
They don't have, Dennis compared to us does not have water recreation or shellfish harbor master.
Mhm.
You know, they have the one facilities guy, which we have, will have. They do have engineering in there, though. They have a good-sized
Yeah.
space for engineering, so there's a little, you know what I mean, so size-wise, and they have more of an active cemetery than we do, which I think looks like one person over there.
Yep.
You know, so they have 60 employees. We all have 50 employees.
Yeah.
So, but they're a bigger community,
Yeah, much
You know,
bigger.
much bigger. Their population's over twice our size.
I think there seemed
Yeah.
to be a point that I know a couple of people were commenting on about the engineering thing. To me, that seemed to be, I know you guys were pretty much struck by, you know, Christ, I got 5 guys working in there, and they're, you know, overseeing $2 million worth of construction. I think you would see that kind of engineering demand if we had 200 miles of road, too.
Yeah.
Or, you know, as many facilities as they seem to have,
Yeah.
you know, unconsolidated, you know, in Dennis. So that didn't strike me as being, you know, excessive or anything.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Sure.
Just, it kind of chimes in with the conversation, 'cause Peter just made me think of something. So, you know, former city engineer, you know, city of Newton. I started my career on the public side, highway superintendent, then went on the engineering side for a while and came back out to the operations side. You know, I've worked in multiple engineering departments for municipalities, and a lot of the engineering need is driven by the size of the municipality. Every municipality can benefit from having that in-house capability, but I don't see Orleans as its size as something that would warrant not even close to a department of
engineering
that
department.
size, you know, or anything like that. But when you talk about future and what could happen, you don't know. For example, 2 things I'll just bring up, and I mentioned it, you know, when GIS came along, like when I was in Stoughton, they added half an employee. But that half employee takes up a certain amount of space. You never would have thought about that in 1985.
Mhm.
You never would have thought about it. You know, I mean, Barnstable was one of the first GIS systems I ever knew had one, and that was done in the 80s, and Newton was in the 80s also. So these technology, things develop. We can't predict the future because we don't know what the future is going to bring.
Right.
That's one example. Another example is this town may see at some point, I mean, I'm a licensed engineer, I can do engineering, et cetera, but they may say, hey, look, we might want a staff engineer to do these things because it can save us X money in outside consultants, et cetera, et cetera. I'll be the first one to say I'll kill an outside consultant when it comes to engineering, no offense. You know what I mean? I mean, I've done it, you know, over and over again for 25 years, in-house projects, designed for basically free because I'm here anyway. So that gets to the what's going to happen to save some room type of thing. I think he made some very valid points about, you know, and really, I mean, he made, you know, like I said in the tour, I didn't talk to him beforehand. He made a lot of valid points about, you know, you're looking at a minimum of 50-year facility here. You know, you don't, my opinion, you know, it's whatever the town meeting wants to vote. But in my opinion, if you're going to do this, do it right. Don't make it so tight that you got 0 room to grow. I like the idea about, you know, you get some storage, you can convert that. You know, so if you got some storage here and there, which we do in our design, not big space, 100 square feet here and there, I mean, that you could convert, and then that storage could go up into a mezzanine. So that's, you know, so it's not, it made me think, because I was thinking of some ideas how I could save some additional space, 100 here and 100 there, which is money. I mean, it's really, what's the town going to support? So we need to think of that growth. You know, I just think it's a valid point. You know, he mentioned engineering. There's an option that you never know. We could see another staff person in 20 years, 30 years from now doing that work, saving the taxpayer money.
Right.
Yeah.
And what we're going to start seeing some overlap on is, I mean, just Ron being located there as an adjunct. I mean, that starts to meld into that techno engineering,
Absolutely.
you know, type of a thing. And once again, you know, if you decide, I know it seems like the plan does accommodate that, but if you were to accommodate, we'll say, a large format printer, I mean, you're talking about something that's 3 or 4 feet wide and it's, you know, 30 inches deep and needs to live on a counter someplace.
If it's a scanner, plotter, copier setup, right, it's 2 4 to 5 foot units.
Right.
Because you get the scanner unit and you get the plotter unit. We have accommodated for that. We actually made, the most recent revisions this last, I don't know if it was this week or the week before, we did make some, to make sure we have sufficient space for type. That's in the CAD room you'll see on the drawing.
But I think that's going to expand, I mean, just based on
Oh, it's going to expand from the GIS standpoint that this town is moving forward on.
Well,
Plan
but we're also
copying.
aren't we also to the point where we've funded and we're collected all the engineering downtown, but do we have it really well archived?
We're in the process, but how do you get to it? You can
Right.
look at it. We have one plotter in the planning department.
Right.
You know, and then what if someone comes up and says, hey, can I get a copy of that, and I'll pay
Right.
you for it, you make copies? I mean, I was running, when I was working in Newton, I mean, we had people all the time at the counter, hey, I want a copy of that, I want a copy of that, and you're charging them, okay,
Right.
Yeah.
$2, $2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It turns
Right.
into a business,
Right.
but you need the infrastructure to do that.
Right.
And people will become more attentive to that.
What's that?
No, I think you're going to say the same thing. Good.
Yeah.
You?
So we're going to move ahead.
Yeah.
So basically, that's good. Good discussion, and thank you, Tom, for bringing us. That was a great visit. The perfect
My
place for us
pleasure.
to take a look at. Update on the Chatham Garage square feet,
I got that.
okay? So that's kind of
So, I got a handout.
great.
Okay, so I'm not sure if it was Mike or Jeff or Weston Sampson, because Jeff did the design over in Chatham when he was working for another firm, put together this square footage of the plans over in Chatham, and you can see the actual size.
Yeah, 18,000.
Square footage of the facility. Of all the facilities, the office space, of the admin space, of the employee space, of the wash space.
Yep.
The vehicle storage, which was the one we were questioning, it's 18,200
Yep.
square feet.
And do we know what the storage was, vehicle storage, the equipment was in Dennis?
Yeah.
Yes.
You said 12 to 13,000.
13,000.
Just the storage area itself.
And what I'll say, just from a comparative standpoint, our current, you haven't seen it yet, you're going to see it today, square footage for our, if you look here, they got 18,000 and change square feet. We're currently at 20,005, so we're a little bigger than Chatham. But Chatham has 23 vehicles, we have 40, based upon our information.
Okay.
So I'm just
Great.
saying,
Let's go ahead to the next thing, so we
so
got
we're
that done.
zeroing in on it,
Let's go into building cost-saving option discussion. I'm going to keep this moving.
okay?
Hank keeps kicking me under the table.
All right, hold on. What are we doing next?
We're doing number
Saving
3,
options-
building
we're going based
cost-saving
on cost-
option
okay.
discussion.
All right, I got another handout. I got paper for you guys today.
Doing a good job.
We're killing the trees today. I'm going to hand this out, because this is probably the quickest conversation. I'm going to start with this one. So Weston Sampson looked at, just fine-tune the cold storage conversation at 50 Lots Hollow as a potential. They did a little more design to fit
And what's-
the number of vehicles in the fleet, what's remaining cold storage.
What is the cost projected for this?
Hold on a second. I got that.
I know you do.
Okay. So
I wouldn't ask you a question you have an answer to.
I will say ballpark. Jeff, jump in, because you guys
Yeah.
didn't. But ballpark, $2.5 million to construct that.
Okay. And one of the things that
That was
Tom and
about
I
right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Tom and I talked about was that, in essence, we could just put another fabric building up, put stuff in there, and $1.50, 150,000.
Dan and I were talking earlier just a little bit, and that, because you got talking about the fabric and how good those
Yeah.
fabric structures are, and I said,
Yeah.
hey, we're looking at doing that on our salt shed, and that salt shed, we're looking at, the salt shed number, this is old stuff I'm looking at. but
138?
It hasn't changed.
That's what you found last time.
For
Salt
150,000.
shed, 138.
I don't think you can't build anything for 150,000.
You'd be surprised on those.
It's
Yeah.
a
Fabric. No, I think he's saying, I think
Structure.
these guys are saying 138 for that salt shed.
Yep, 138.
Yeah, 138.
Really?
So,
Yeah, there's a site called
So-
FarmTech. You check it out.
That's
I mean, I was
concrete and site work and everything?
Yeah.
it's concrete,
Yeah.
Really?
and it's
It's a pen.
concrete and structure. And
Structure.
Jeff needs to jump in if we're wrong in these numbers, because he put them together. So, there's no real foundation, Mike. It's like stacked block. There's different options you can use for the foundation. Then you put a Galvy steel framework, and you put a fabric on it. And the fabric, what's the warranty? Is it
And
20
doors on
years?
it.
It's a
Farm tech, did
15-year
you say?
Yeah, FAR,
warranty typically.
Yep.
TEC.
So, but the town has to understand, okay, it's a 15-year on the fabric warranty, so let's say you stretch it and get 17, it just means it turns into the replacement schedule, because you cannot not replace it. It just becomes.
And I think one thing you and I were talking about was there are fabrics out there that have much, the highest end fabric, Seaman, is the one that, is used industrially, and that has a much
Longer lifespan.
longer
Yeah,
lifespan.
absolutely.
Ron?
What about wind loading on a fabric
Yeah.
structure?
One thing that I saw, and just in some things I looked at Seaman, when the hurricanes went through Florida, the Seaman structures had virtually no damage on 60 million square feet. And they made a big deal of this down in Florida, they've made a big point of making that happen. So that's actually, they've rapidly increased the use of those in Florida in high hurricane areas, high hurricane alley areas.
So we talking like 120 mile an hour?
Yeah, they'll have to be designed to meet the current building code, which is, I don't know the-
Here is 110.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I think it's
100.
120.
Is it 120?
It's higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're designed to meet that. Typically, if you're going to fully enclose one, they have what they call blowout panels. So in the
Yeah.
event air gets in, it actually will blow out through a small,
Okay.
louvered opening, so
So you
you
got
don't
something
have the
sacrificial.
sail effect.
yeah. So we could be, another $40,000 or $50,000 more for higher quality fabric, but in the end,
So, sorry.
go ahead.
Just back to this cold storage conversation, I think it's, what I just passed out, actually just came in within a day or two for Weston and Sampson. I haven't had a chance to look at it and count vehicles and see if we like it. But honestly, I'll throw this out there, I'm sure what Jeff would comment on this, is a fabric structure for cold storage. Where I wanted to go with this was, a while ago, that we were talking a $17.5 million project budget for, demo of buildings and salt storage, but that 17.5 was including redoing the compost facility, which was extremely cheap cold storage. So, but we're not looking at that now. So what does that mean? Instead of spending a couple $100,000 at the compost facility, if you built this as shown that I just passed out, that's another $2.5 million on top of the project. So if you take that one piece, $17.5 million just grew. We're making cuts other places. But what I'll say is, I don't know what you think about a fabric structure for this, but I'm game to try anything.
Yeah, so I think what we can do is take a look at that,
Yeah.
because right now, it's a different location.
Oh, yeah.
And would you want to have this, do we want to have this as part of our proposal for the 10 million, the 12, but we're really looking at 10?
You mean
You
cold
wanna have-
storage?
Yeah, do you want to have the cold storage component be part of that as we're talking about that?
I see that, that I see as another phase to this thing, and I do for a couple of reasons. We got a couple of situations out there that we don't know whether we can acquire other properties. We sort of know in the short term, well, I suppose that the compost building isn't completely off the table in the short term, but we know that it's not a long-term solution to anything that goes on here. We don't know what is going to happen with the Bay Ridge site, whether if that does get kept for cold storage, then that steel building, I think, although that's not an ideal scenario in my mind, that option is still out there to use that. And I just see the cold storage as being kind of the resultant number of what's going to be left over here in the budget to reasonably go after that solution. And there could be things, like you say, as cheap as a fabric building, or one of these other scenarios might play out. So I see putting that as a phase 2 type of thing here.
So there was no cold storage in the major plan for our present site when we looked at that, the larger plan?
When we looked at, early on, and I'd like to comment on his comment, but to answer your question, the original 3D renderings that you saw of Gedaya Hill with the salt shed
Right.
and all that had, at that time, that number, so that included redo the compost facility.
But there was no
'Cause
location?
that's where it ended.
Okay.
That process, that first phase of this whole conversation ended with that number. And it wasn't until this other property nearby was like, maybe that's an option, kind of thing. So that's when we started looking and,
You know, even Bay Ridge Lane, I mean, push comes to shove,
We did, you're right, excuse me. There was conversation, instead of doing it at the compost facility, there was conversation of do it at Bay Ridge
A
Lane.
new
But
building.
it wasn't priced out in part of the final report. I think it was, I'm trying to remember. But what I would like to say about Bay Ridge, that you brought it up, because I actually was thinking the same thing, is, this committee has leaned so far to not phasing. So when you tell me we're not phasing, that's soup to nuts, new facility, salt shed, cold storage, and demo of the old facilities, because that costs money too. That's in the 17 and a half, but I'm just saying, that's when you say
Why do we have to have demo in there?
or maybe,
let's hold the thought. That's where it went to.
Yeah.
So, but I got cooking on Peter's line, if you guys, you kind of hinted, well, maybe we should do that later. So if there is going to be a little bit of another phase, a small phase, whatever it is, then maybe we build the one facility, here it is, we're in it, we're operating, we don't have a permanent set-up cold storage yet. And I thought to myself, I said, well, you know something? You could use everything sitting on Bay Ridge as temporary cold storage for a few years until you figure it out. You mothball the buildings, you use it as cold storage. There's the water shop. Again, you could use it as cold storage. The only thing with the water shop is, bear in mind, it is in a watershed. You don't want the buildings next to the vehicles next to the well. That's one of the reasons why we want to get out of there. But on a short-term basis, we could do that. But then longer term, again, this is my mind going, longer term, again, it's not up to me, it's up to these guys in the town meeting, is you find that you've solved the cold storage problem, you demo Bay Ridge, or whatever, you clean up the sites, and then you sell Bay Ridge as an option, and then now you get some cost recovery toward the project.
yeah,
That's what the town wants to
in
do.
my mind, I would see going into Bay Ridge, do our 21E, get it to the point where we could certify it's clean, put that on the market. And then, I know it goes into the general fund, but I mean, at that point, then we take that amount of savings and we put it into this,
The project.
to offset, some of that construction.
There's value in that property.
And
But
here
then-
again,
but then we have to have a cold storage,
yeah, I think they're,
and a place for cold storage.
Yeah, it's permanent.
there's
And
a
you
lot
wanna
of
have
options,
other issues there.
short-term and maybe long-term, and when we know exactly what we actually need for that. And that problem doesn't absolutely have to be solved right now.
Yes, Ron?
I have one question and a
Sure.
couple of comments. This thing here, this is our property we own now, right?
No.
Thank you. The comments
Excuse me,
I
I didn't mean to
have,
butt in, Mr.
and
Chairman.
based on your report from last night,
Yeah.
is the Board of Selectmen thinks that you're going with one central facility.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't, in the long, well, I think that would be on a larger campus, and we know we're making assumptions that
You
way.
need to make it plain in your next report that it's not all gonna be under Dyer Hill.
Okay,
Second comment, don't talk about the compost building. Politically, you're never gonna get that.
No, we're not. It's off the table.
okay. Well, that's fine.
Not for temporary use or anything. You're
Right.
not gonna get that building.
What has actually happened here is that because of the lower cost option now of a fabric building, it doesn't make any sense, because you can actually put a fabric building in place of the compost factory,
Okay.
and basically it's the same cost of fixing the compost
Right,
building.
and
Oh,
that's
we
new
gotta-
information that's after
E-
that meeting. That's fine.
Exactly, yep.
Fine, but I think that the Board of Selectmen doesn't understand that it's a campus we're talking about and
Oh,
not
this
one
is
plot
the
of
first
land.
time we saw this. So it's just an option that Tom's bringing to us. Okay. But that's good, those are good points.
But
Thanks.
this is the property outside the transfer station
We don't own it.
entrance?
This is 50,
Yeah, we don't
I know
have
this,
that.
Right,
50
right,
months
that's what
old.
that sketch is of, yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you did, then that would become one campus.
Right.
You want to say what your thoughts are to Hank?
I'm sure in the near future, we're gonna make some kind of decision on that property on Lots Hollow Road. But that decision has not been made.
And that could be 2 years away.
No. I think the decision of whether to do something will be for 2 years. whether, on the property itself.
Well, again, what I'm saying is, I mean, this is something that would have to go into the capital plan and town meeting, so 2 years from now, that's the timeframe. Here again, we're talking about, the cold storage facility happening, phase 2, way out there.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
That's not
actually,
what was
but,
indicated last night.
so basically, the cold storage solution, it's a little bit semantics, but the cold storage solution, if we're going to do a one and done, needs to be addressed, or we have to make that clear to the selectmen that, we're going to use an existing building, or we're going to have some other option. Now, on the present site we're looking at, is there space for large cold storage?
Yeah, that's the other big.
What location?
G'day Hill.
Good night, Hill.
What part of G'day Hill?
I'm asking you, is there a space after we do?
Existing, with what we own?
Yes.
No,
Okay,
not with what we own.
okay.
And not
That's
still
good.
be able to store materials and everything else we're going to.
Exactly. It's going to be a stretch to put the salt shed and gravel materials, et cetera, because that's going behind the gift house with the compost site. We have to relocate the compost operation. We haven't figured out that detail yet.
Okay, so we have to decide what we're going to do with this cold storage spot. It's probably, we have to kind of think about this a little bit out of the box and see how we want to handle it. We have a lot of options. One of them is not the compost facility. It doesn't make any sense. And I was a big advocate for that, but now with the fabric, it just doesn't make any sense, Take it, economically, no reason for that.
Politically, it won't fly.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
presently, it's not in here? Or, not presently, but it wasn't in here, in the original?
it was, but now, we get to modify, so we get to change. That's our job, and that's what we've
Original
done.
number had it at the compost facility, and then there was conversation of, well, maybe we could do it at Bay Ridge, and that's where it ended. But the price wasn't updated
Right.
to include that.
So we'll deal with that, we'll address that, we'll move that along, we'll kind of think about it a little bit. It's, that you have to find a place now to put it, the cold storage, right? And this is an option,
And
Or-
Bay Ridge is an option.
and Bay Ridge is an option, okay? So some things we can take a look at there and see what happens. The one thing that if we use Bay Ridge, we don't get we can't capture those funds back and sell that, to the taxpayers as this is a way to recoup some funds. So we have to think about that. What's the best way to do that? Ron, did you have another point, another
Well,
question?
the only thing is, personally speaking for myself only, this is a great idea. We just have to let it develop first,
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean you can't pursue it.
right. Well, I personally don't think this is a great idea for $2.5 million. I think it's a great idea for, $200,000 for a fabric building, for cold storage.
Understood.
Yeah. Just like I would do, do in the yard.
And just make it plain to the board that it's a campus we're talking about, not
Yes.
one
Yes.
land site.
Exactly.
So can I?
Sure, go ahead, Mike.
So if the compost building is off the table, which I fully understand,
Okay.
and if there is no other available town land currently on which to build cold storage, is that how I understand this conversation so far?
There is,
There is, it would be the Bay Ridge site.
Bay Ridge site.
The
Okay,
current
all right,
DPW.
fair enough, okay. So now the only argument is whether we convert Bay Ridge
Mm-hmm.
to cold storage,
Yeah.
or we demolish Bay Ridge
Yes.
and sell it so that
Exactly.
we can buy another piece of real estate to provide cold storage.
That's right. And if we demolish Bay Ridge, exactly, and we buy this, we're losing, there's
Right.
a whole bunch of moving numbers there.
I don't see any reason whatsoever to get involved in demolishing anything on Bay Ridge. I mean,
Well-
get rid of it, sell it. I mean, there could be a buyer that would come along that would, I can
As
bet
is.
that
Yeah.
there'd be a buyer that would be,
So it as is.
yeah, would,
Probably sell it
probably-
as is.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
make use of those buildings.
Right, no, I agree.
Take
yeah.
down,
I
you know,
I agree, I would.
Shed or whatever, but.
So it's kind of, we have two options. We can't do it on the present site. We have to decide something. And if we go with Bay Ridge, we could probably, because it's just cold storage. We
So
don't
I
have to put a
think,
lot of money
I
into
think
it.
the argument, I don't know why we even spend a lot of time talking about that, because there's only two options.
Exactly.
Right.
Either
I
they
agree with you.
agree that
And they could
Bay
change.
Ridge is going to be cold storage.
Yeah.
Or there's no cold storage.
Or,
We're out of the loop.
Or,
they make a deal for 50 Lots Hollow
Fair enough,
Road,
but
and
but
it
all of
goes
a
there.
sudden, we can only offer two things right now.
that's right.
Yeah.
We can either say, no cold
That's a
storage,
very
or
good
cold
point,
storage
Mike.
on Bay Bay Ridge Road.
You know what, that's
And
a
then
very,
let's move on. Now
No,
let's
and
talk
that's a-
about the
that's a
rest.
good way to.
Cold storage, it happens whenever phase two comes
Whenever
along.
there's-
No, there's no,
and these other-
there is no
these-
phase two. It's a one and done, actually, they would really, if we're gonna go one and done, they made a big point of saying, give us the whole program.
Okay.
Yeah, and so if
We
there's
can't
no
say to them,
room,
there's another second phase.
yeah,
to
if there's
say.
no room on the property, on the campus for the cold storage,
Yeah,
that's a whole separate project.
yeah, and it's not bad for us to say, okay, Bay Ridge is cold storage, and there's no money needed. There's 10,000 to clean it
Right,
up.
exactly.
okay?
Or maybe you say 250,000 to either rework some of the buildings at Bay Ridge or a fabric building somewhere.
Yeah, but
Could
there's no
be,
place
yeah.
to put it. So
Yeah,
until,
that's the option.
until there's real estate available,
Okay.
they're stuck with Bay Ridge.
Right.
So I think those are both really good points. Great, so basically,
That was supposed to be the quick one.
yeah, but you know what, we got to a good point. I think that was good.
Yeah.
I thought
No,
that was,
absolutely.
that was a great one.
Can I
So
ask, can I ask for the summation for my own edification?
Yes, Mike has a summation he's going to give you right now.
One more time, Mike.
What's the question?
What did you just say? Like, you brought it right to the end game on cold storage. So
Yeah,
what are
my-
the options?
My feeling, as I understand the conversation, the only option right now, based on available real estate, is we either have cold storage on Bay Ridge Road, or we sell Bay Ridge Road and buy a piece of real estate to put cold storage. But no matter what, that's the end of the story.
That's
There's
it.
nothing
That's
for
all
us
it
to
is.
talk about.
Right.
Cold storage is already existing if you want to use it.
You know, the good news about
So
that
we
is,
can take that right out of the budget.
that's the last time we have to talk about it. 'cause
I think so,
That's really the
yeah,
end.
it's done.
Until something changes.
No, well, nothing was changed. Yeah, that's right.
But it's going to have to change quickly, because as far as I'm concerned, we're done.
That's right with that. Good, I like that. Next, so that was building cost savings
Oh, no,
option
that was-
one. That's right,
Part A,
exactly.
quick one. But this will be quick, too, because I think you'll like it.
We like, it doesn't have to be quick.
Well, I think you'll like it, though. I think it's easy to explain. We already talked about it somewhat. But we talked about at the last meeting what we wanted to do. And so now quickly I can go through what I'm sure we got a couple extras.
Jeff, do you have a square foot cost for the actual garage?
Not off the top of my head, I can get all that
That'd be good.
information for you, yeah.
Yeah, and I understand as we shrink it,
Yeah.
it doesn't exactly,
Right.
shrink down. You reduce it by 50%, it doesn't go down 50%.
No.
Right.
But just to have an idea of what,
It's rough terms, it's about $150 without any markups on it, $150 a square foot.
about $150 a square foot.
Yeah.
And what does this building cost now in your projections?
Don't know. We haven't run it.
Yeah, we haven't run it yet.
With
We're
the-
still working on the plan, so we'll have to go
Okay.
back, and I'm going to update the numbers. And as we talked about it last time I attended your meeting, I'm looking to, really go over each individual price based on some recent data and see if I can weed out any, make sure there's not too much contingency that's driving up costs.
Good.
So
Appreciate that.
Spend a little time on each item.
Okay, good, thanks, Jeff, that's great. Todd?
So, page one is an overall of the site
Mhm.
and changes. In the last meeting, we talked about relooking at the admin area and the locker rooms and you know what I mean? And I'm going to go through exactly what we did, I'll describe to you. Really totally revamped the vehicle maintenance area quite a bit. The last time we talked, you had seen a potential of maybe bringing the vehicle maintenance the wash bay inside the facility. And geez, how do we make it drive-through and this and that? Well, we did that, in working with my staff and working with Weston and Sampson. We did that. So, and then we also shrunk the garage, and I'll tell you how we did that.
Okay.
The heated 45-degree area. So the second page is the admin area.
Yes, that's that
So,
first.
there's a lot of conversation about, and this is just one piece of what we did, but this is how we pieced it together.
Okay.
There's been some conversation, is it the right thing or not to take two positions in the water administration that currently housed right now in the town hall and move them down here? Now, as the operational guy who runs all this, I want them down there. But there's a driving force to save money, and that's square footage. There are benefits to having water in the town hall, from bill paying standpoint and the public exposure, you know what I mean? So,
For administrative?
administrative folks.
Okay, so they're not.
Two,
they're not-
there's a clerical position and the assistant water superintendent. Now, she's the assistant, she gets involved in operations, but she's more on the administrative side on a day-to-day basis,
What percent is town hall, what percent is field? operations?
You know, I don't know her day enough, let's say 75% town hall.
Okay.
Okay, so based upon all that, it's, okay, Tom's gonna give in, well, you know, I'm gonna stop fighting it, and my boss is kinda saying, hey, Tom, they really probably should be here in the halls. I'm like, okay, fine.
Okay.
So there's 2 positions, there's, you know, a few hundred square feet, maybe, you know, kind of
Boom.
thing, to reduce, but what that did was, it took away an office on the right side. Basically, the way we reworked it, it took away an office on, if you're looking at the plan, I'll just say the top of the page, okay? It took away one of the offices on the top, and it took away one of the clerical positions that were on the right in the middle. And then what we looked at was, okay, we looked at quite a bit. We looked at the entire area from the muster workforce training room, you know, where it says video room and vestibule. We looked from there on all the way to the right over and revamped it and shrunk it and made it more efficient in my book. You know, we actually decided, you know, we moved the conference room, made it a little smaller, you know, the small one where we can have people come in and sit and chat, which actually a lot of my staff is, management staff is, you know, it's a good idea. If you got someone you want to sit down with quietly and go through an issue, having that little small conference room, 4-seater with pocket doors, sliding doors.
Where's that one?
It's between
Off on the right-hand side.
like the park and beaches counter and the administration counter, right next to the unisex bathroom for the public. See it right there? It's just a little tiny little room.
Mm-hmm.
Point it out to you, make it easier.
Oh, right there, yeah, I see it. Yeah,
So
yeah,
you got-
yeah.
So you get the
That's
little room
great.
there, and you get the unisex here. So
Right.
we revamped that wall, we revamped the other side, and what we're able to do, and I'm gonna use a ballpark number because it was my scale number, I don't know what the ultimate number was, we shortened the entire length of that building 7 feet
Okay.
by making these changes. Well, 7
Okay.
feet by 71 feet is a lot of square footage, it's a lot of thousands of dollars. So there's something we did. Then the other thing we did was we looked at the locker rooms and counted the lockers, right? We counted all the lockers, counted the staff. I went through each person who may or may not have a locker. Bless you.
Thank you.
And Weston and Sampson significantly reduced the size of that whole male locker room area. They returned it over. They really made it a lot smaller than it was. We revamped the muster room a little bit, slid a little bit, you know, I think they actually might have slid the shared office foreman a little bit in the female locker room. So they were able to take that whole administrative wing. It was all part of taking that whole administrative wing and sliding it in about 7 feet,
Yep.
if that's about the right number.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is what we did to admin.
Okay.
And there's a couple other thoughts we have in here.
Can you use this meeting room as a public room at night?
Which meeting room?
No, at the workforce training room.
You know,
It's gonna be like-
I guess potentially we could, you know, we have, and I'll always, whatever the selectman liaison wants to input, you know, it's a municipal facility, if there's a public use for it, we'll make it accessible. Bear in mind, we don't have the custodial staff to watch the building, but there is not an actual intent here to have public meetings here, because you've got this room and upstairs, there's a lot of meeting space. You know, you get the library, is there any?
Right.
You know,
From my point of view, as you said, you got the library, you got the fire station, you got the police station, they all have meeting places for formal meetings. You don't need one,
Okay.
and yours is particularly out of the way.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need to even consider public meetings
Okay,
there.
good, because this is going to be a messy room, the workforce, that's also going to be a break room, I mean, where they're going to eat.
Break room, lunch room, muster room,
So
training
it's,
room.
so it's going to be, you know,
Yeah, I don't think
The
you can
guys-
consider that as a public room at all.
okay, good, that's great. So there's no public, there's no need to lock down or do anything else.
you know, and quite frankly, at the end of the day, it's a large room with a lot of furniture, and if it had to
Yeah.
convert to some
Yeah.
If
It's
we
just-
had the
other
meeting-
thing on
I
a
don't- I don't
short-term
think the
thing, you
I
could
think
do
the
that.
problem is the mess I saw in that room would not be
Yeah, no.
Conducive.
confused to have
And that's
to the
what it-
public. Exactly.
And that's the day-to-day operation,
That's
obviously.
good, that's
so.
good insight, thanks, Ron, that was really helpful.
I'm speaking for myself, but I believe the other selectmen would say the same thing, and I believe the town administrator would say, we really don't need any more meetings.
Yeah,
Is
no.
that something we should bring up, should I bring up in the presentation and ask them, or is that too small a detail?
No, I would say that what you did is, we think that there should not be public meetings there because it's, A, out of the way, and we have
It's
plenty of
redundant.
other meetings there, so we don't recommend
Yeah, it's
public
just-
meetings there, and that's
yeah,
all
it's
you
just
need to say.
redundant.
Okay, good. And I guess next Wednesday, I'll probably have to make another presentation. Okay.
I probably wouldn't even offer it up, but I'd be ready to answer it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to make sure, the thing I want to make sure if anybody ever comes back is, why don't you have any public meeting rooms?
So for the
yeah.
following reasons, it's out of the way and it's
think you
redundant.
should ignore
We got more than we need.
Well, I don't want, I take both of your suggestions, but I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah, okay.
I take your suggestion, but I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the Crown allows you to do.
God bless you.
Okay. I just want to make sure, they're very bright guys, and I don't think there's, I want to, you know,
I will say,
I want to make sure that
We will.
they're,
Yep,
please,
because that could be a problem, because it changes a lot.
yep.
That's good. Thanks for doing that. Thanks, and we're really happy to hear, I'm specifically very happy to hear about the participation on your team in going through all this.
Yeah.
It's really good, Tom, that you're
We
really,
need to, well, let me throw out a thought, just based on what you just said, like, you see the admin lunchroom area, you know, if you want to say the ladies, doesn't mean the ladies, but,
yeah.
okay. You know, the staff wants a project to go, they want a project that, you know, that we can enjoy in our careers, that we're here, you know what I mean? And I had one of our ladies, I'll say, said to me, well, I don't need an admin lunchroom. You know, I'm happy to sit with the guys and blah, blah. So it's interesting to hear David's comment today about, it's a different environment, I guess is the right way to
Well,
put it.
you know what, if it doesn't, the good thing about this room,
Right.
which we're all looking for, someday it's going to be an office.
It could be an office.
There you
exactly. It could be something that starts as an admin lunchroom and turns into a future office. It
And
could
then
be-
the admin moves into the archive, just a little corner of the archive file room.
So how many square feet was it reduced?
Well, take 71 times 7. What's that?
500 square feet there.
So there's 500 there. I mean, total, what I'm going to show you, the whole building downsized about 4,500 square feet. Okay? Everything I'm going to show you.
Okay?
Okay? So going to the next page, which is the
Hey,
vehicle
what-
maintenance.
One thing I want to say is, tremendous amount of light for everybody. It was one of the things that was brought up by the people that we talked to today, how important light is. We have, I think, for the people working in this environment, there's an awful lot of light. Is that fair to say, Jeff?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay, that's good.
absolutely.
Yeah, we like that.
I thought that was actually kind of a valid point that David made about, you know, some women probably don't want to hang out in the lunchroom with the rest of the guys
Yeah.
and, you know, all of that culture. So I thought that was
That was great.
an interesting point to take in.
Okay, great.
So the
Go
next
ahead.
page is vehicle maintenance, shops, wash bay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, part of that 4,500 square foot savings, I'm counting the wash bay by not having it out there like we used to and bringing it, because I wasn't sold yet. So in the last couple of weeks, I had the time to sit down and look at it. I sat down with my vehicle maintenance foreman and some of my staff and like my natural resources manager. So what we did, because we wanted, it's advantageous to have the drive-through, but the last revision, we were losing shop space to have a drive-through.
That was a big.
So what we did was working all together. So we lost the vehicle maintenance bay,
Mm-hmm.
and we shuffled in a vehicle wash bay.
Yeah.
However, a vehicle wash bay can be an extra bay if we need it, and you will know where it says vehicle wash bay, right below that, it's got a dotted thing for a door, a garage door, so that we can get easy, good
Very
space
smart.
to slide in lifts, portable lifts as we
Yeah.
need to, and utilize that wash bay as we need to.
I think a good point for this is that, based on what we saw in Dennis, their door is broken, and it's not killing them.
Right.
They're driving in, they're driving out, they're driving in, they're driving out. It doesn't have to be a drive-through.
Right.
So this can be in and out, back in, back out, as needed, but if we have the need,
Yes.
over to the right of the vehicle wash bay is a natural resources shop, where you can do drive right through. Now, we gave natural resource shop a little more area. You'll see on the bottom piece of it, you've got like
Smart.
a gated area, so they're gonna have secured chain link fence, area to work, and they can, on a daily basis, move into the natural resources shop area and work in that area, and if it's something that has to go overnight, fine, they can leave it out there. But if we have an issue that we need to drive through, we can very easily move the stuff out of the way, guys, and drive the
Wow.
vehicle through. And if they're not in there during the day, on a usual basis, and fire comes in with a ladder, fire can just drive right through with a
Yeah.
ladder and engine and go right in.
Yeah.
So we can make that accommodation. And everything is locked down and safe, so that if police or fire want to come by in off hours, they can still have drive-in and back-out access to the vehicle wash bay.
Is this you and your team designing, thinking about this?
Yeah.
Yeah? Very smart.
been working with Weston.
Very smart. Good
Can I
good
give it to
job
him?
on everybody. You guys, what do you guys
Yeah, I'm
think?
happy with this.
You know, you guys mentioned in Chatham it was a muggy atmosphere.
Terrible, yeah.
And so what we do now is, with almost no cost, we put in a humidistat, humidity sensor, and that's connected to the exhaust fan. So in the event that there's no one
That's
in
good.
there, it's not going to build up with
Assist
that.
it.
Yeah, so it makes it a viable space to use for maintenance operations and will
Good.
dry out quickly.
Good. I think having 2 bays makes, no one's going to fight that. It's perfect. It's very good.
So, moving on.
And you got, is parts about the same size, part storage, and,
Well, okay, let's talk about that area. That's, okay, so if we were going, heading down the page for vehicle wash bay, we now have 2 heavy equipment bays. I want to talk about that, for the 4 little things on the right. You get the little bathroom, you get the foreman's office, and then you get the small engine shop and the hose shop. Now, me and, say, our team, Orleans team, came up with some ideas on this, and we sent it to Weston, and actually, they made some nice changes for us, making it a little better. However, you know, when we look at this, we're thinking square footage is square footage. It doesn't
Right.
matter, right now, at this stage, if the foreman's office is there showing, it doesn't matter if later we switch it over to maybe where fluid storage is or specialty tool storage. You know, moving around so square footage doesn't affect cost, you know what I mean? So, you know, I look at this now, and, you know, I want to have a little more conversation. We like the idea of having maintenance supervision near the entry door, because everyone comes in and it goes right to the foreman's desk, and if it's near the entry door as opposed to walking through the shop to the foreman's desk, you know what I mean? So we might shuffle that, but I'm just letting you know.
I'm missing that a little bit.
Okay, so.
Sorry,
I'll point it
I'm
out.
kind
For
of,
example, I know, I'm talking fast. So if you look
Oh.
at, right now, the maintenance supervisor's desk is here.
Right.
When I sketched it, we had it over here in this area,
Yeah.
which is near the entry door.
right,
So, hey, salesmen come in, people dropping parts
Right.
come in, they go right to his desk.
Okay.
With this scenario, they're crossing the shop.
Right.
So we may, again, look at
Yeah, that
moving it
makes
back
sense.
to an outer wall, gives them a window too, but it doesn't matter from a conceptual standpoint, because square footage is square footage.
Right.
As long as we're
Yeah.
comfortable with it, we
Yeah.
might just make this
but yeah,
shuffle.
that makes
So I'm
sense.
just explaining you some thoughts. The other thing is, you've got the small engine repair shop and the hose shop. We're probably gonna wanna open that up. It's gonna be the same square footage, it might be just a workbench along a wall, where this is the hose shop area, and this is what's the other one, the small
Small
engine
engine.
repair shop area. We may open that up and not have walls, it actually probably saves a couple bucks.
Yeah.
Saves a couple bucks.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we might open that up a little bit.
Good.
So now going down to.
So you'll take care of all that, you'll look at all
Oh,
that.
we'll look
It looks
at that.
good.
It doesn't mean a whole lot to you guys at
If
this
you-
point. If you, sorry, do you have a
Yeah,
question?
yeah, I want to back,
What do you do?
I'm got confused here
is it-
for
Everybody-
minute purposes.
wait,
What were you
time
saying?
out. Hold on a second. Hey, guys?
It's just a walk.
Yeah, it's a mark, walkway.
Okay. Hank's going to ask a question
I
of
just want to
Tom.
clarify something. What were you saying here about this part?
So what happens is, here's the wash bay,
Right,
right?
got
And
that.
and this door locks, and this is a garage door that would lock, and this door locks, and this is a garage door that would lock. So off hours, police and fire or anyone can come into the vehicle wash bay area here.
Okay,
During work hours, we've got the option now to actually open this and drive right through.
okay.
And this
Great,
shop
huh?
we made a little
I
bigger.
got you.
We gave them a little extra space here.
So
to
this
work.
slanty lines
That's
here
a
is...
walk, that's actually a walk, shows a walk area. Where
Okay.
staff will,
And
because
then this is
it's
a
not
door here.
ideal that we're gonna have the staff, if the staff is going from the lunchroom and going out to the big garage area, they're gonna walk through the wash bay.
Okay,
Hey, it's not perfect, but we're compromising.
okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
can walk through the wash bay. It's not a
Okay,
big deal.
good.
Um,
How about Mike, did you have a question? You guys have a
Yeah,
question?
no, all set.
Pete,
So-
you have a
It
question?
was the same question that.
Okay, good.
Yep.
So now looking down at the other area where fluid storage is, which is kind of bottom left, and specialty tool and compressor room and pot storage. You know, all those components that you see down at the bottom part used to be up at the top part. We just put them down, to get the wash bay where it is, we started moving things around. We had in-house our own thoughts about how to deal with that area, but then we sent it to Weston, and Weston put it in this particular design layout, which actually looks to be a little more efficient from what we sketched.
Yeah.
From space standpoint, so that's good. The only thing we might look at is maybe we'll move the foreman back, but that's what we did.
Wait, good.
So the gain there is one, you know, you're basically gaining, you know, you got me now blessing, hey, I like this, I'm comfortable with this, I'm okay now. Let's not do an outside wash bay, let's bring it inside. That's a lot of square footage to save.
Yep.
And a lot of money. I mean, that's
Plus we gained
that's an
a lot-
expensive piece of square footage.
I think the thing that I was concerned about was the lack of shop space. and you've been able to design this so that you've actually increased shop space significantly since the last plan.
From the last one
Which is
showing the
good.
wash vehicle inside,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
We came up with a compromise that, I was working with the, Nate Sears, our Harper, Natural Resources Manager, and I went over it with him, he's seen it, and he's comfortable with it.
Yeah,
And also note, you can see, like Jeff was saying when we did the tour, the wash bay equipment has its own little room, and it's in the natural resources shop. You'll see wash bay
oh,
equipment.
good, okay, so
Yeah.
everything's going to be right in there.
Right there, so it's away from the wash bay.
That's smart.
And the moisture,
Yeah,
so.
good.
So, yeah, and I like the pot storage the way it is now, and the fluid storage with outside access, like that. I don't have to be going through with barrels of fluids. The pot storage is actually bigger now. Before, we had separate pot storage, separate tires, something? One big pot storage. And
Are you
know
going to put
from-
tires in here?
Yes, but something from my experience also?
Yeah,
I've used upstairs from parts on a mezzanine tire storage, and you use a crane to haul it up and down.
yeah, because you'll have a mezzanine here, right?
Yes. We have a mezzanine plan, I don't have it with me, but there is a
Yeah.
mezzanine.
That's okay.
You can see the stairs
Yeah,
going
you can
up.
see the
Yeah,
dotted
yeah,
line.
you
in
see the
stairwell.
stairs. There's a mezzanine above
So
the
it'll go
house.
right above, oh, it's going to be
Small engine repair
above the
and
parts store and,
No, above the maintenance supervisor and the small engine repair shop.
right, and could you have a mezzanine that also is above the
Parts.
parts storage and everything else?
Yeah, it can only be 1/3 of the floor area that opens up to, so we'll be limited by building code of how much we can put there, but we'll maximize it right to that full 1/3.
Excellent, yeah, we don't want to, and that's one of the things we saw, I think, in Dennis, was
Everywhere.
we were surprised that people are not maximizing their, we're going to do that right away.
After, I
Yeah,
won't say
exactly.
that. Little rehab later.
Midnight
Ron?
rehab.
Just a question, is it a luxury to have a restroom in the maintenance area? Or-
Yeah,
Yes.
unisex locker. Mr. Ober, what's, in your experience, is it the
Typically, we
greasy
put-
factor?
Yeah, typically we put it in there because that operation can tend to track a lot of
Okay.
debris associated
Don't
with
you
the operation.
have some specific safety issues, eye wash and
Yep.
that kind of thing there,
Yeah,
too?
I
We'll
don't
have
see,
that.
do you have space planned, is eyewash space taken into account in these areas?
It will be. It's
It
not-
would be in
not
that
shown, but
unisex.
yeah, we would have an emergency eye wash and shower in that space because of, they'll be handling caustic material, batteries and such.
Okay.
So that would be programmed in, but it's not shown yet.
Okay.
Do we get-
Janitorial space, I didn't really see that.
Should have a janitor
There is, in the
law.
administration area, Ron had a comment about making the safe area smaller and the custodian closet bigger, which was a very good point.
Yeah.
So we actually made, on the admin area, we actually made the custodian area bigger.
Yeah, it's good,
You
good
know,
point.
just going back to finding more space, you've got the oblong shape of the, for janitorial or some other space, the main muster room, the fact that you got this oblong space right here, you could chop that off and make that also additional space
Yeah.
too. that one
Which
corner.
job on, which one?
Right,
Oh, I
where
see what you're
you
saying.
get
Yeah,
the
yeah,
four
yeah.
chairs that are kind of sitting off to the side, rearrange that a little bit, and that might give you a decent size
Second extra office.
extra
Yeah,
office.
for somebody else that might,
Storage, maintenance, whatever.
yeah. Didn't at one point you want to have an office for, there was something else you had. You had the storm event room, you had the shared foreman. I thought there was another office for some outside resources that might be in there.
There's the storm event room, I remember that.
Yeah, okay, good.
So anyway,
That's a good idea.
That's a good thing to look at.
for the mechanics on.
Yeah, it's something I think that as we further refine the plans, we should look at that again.
Yeah.
And just see, based on locations, but it's not a code requirement, it's more of a, trying to deal with the different uses of the space.
Keeping it clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
The last thing if I may, Mr. Chairman, just to wrap this piece
Sure,
up.
absolutely.
Is we moved the sign shop, and it's down next to the specialty tool storage now, but we put it across from the highway shop, which makes sense, because sign shop is part of the highway department.
Yeah.
We kind of reshuffled the shop a little bit, and gave, and broke them up fairly evenly space-wise. You can see where the tree workshop is now with highway, because they're actually with the highway department, in the water secured material storage. So, So we kind of rearranged the whole makeup of it, but again, we saved some significant square footage with the wash.
You have a mezzanine above that, all those
Oh, yeah,
shops too?
all that,
For
yeah.
a total, for a third, good. Great work, good. Now we're getting to the, how many square feet is this?
Now,
The garage?
yeah,
now?
20 and change, right?
On the storage garage?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 20 and change, it was,
I think it's like 20,500 roughly.
yes. Yeah, it was, let me see if I have an old number.
It was
in my notes.
26,000 when we first started.
The rendition I have, not when we first, but through the process, the last one was 22 and a half.
Yep, that's what
So-
I had,
yeah,
22,464.
So we just took another 2,000 square feet off it. Now, so let's talk about what we did. Actually, the vehicle inventory we did? Hot versus cold, and where should it go, and
Yep.
all that. So, went through that with a fine-tooth comb, and matched it right up to the size, okay? So, so we're pretty much on. I think there was one extra space, but, you can't have just one. You're not going to cover the corner of the building, so you end up with one extra space or something like that. So, and then we also looked at, the small vehicles, the things I said that take up a little bit of room, like compactors and things like that, and found a home for that underneath the mezzanine, in front of in front of spaces 11 to 20, small vehicle space 11 to 20. You see this as trailer and equipment storage, so we tucked a whole bunch of stuff in there. But then, by doing that, I looked at the other side and said, well, we don't need the same amount of storage on the other side for equipment and trailers. So we jogged the wall in and did a canopy over it to help now deal with, so we made this facility the warmer area. So if you look at the top part of the page, we jogged the wall in and did a canopy. So if you look,
Right here.
yeah, right in this area.
Oh, that's a
We
canopy.
brought this wall in, and we put a canopy over here to now take care of some of our cold storage. It will reduce
Okay.
our cold storage
Right.
needs, is what it'll be. And it all, listening to the
What-
committee, Buddy liked that idea, and it
Okay,
worked. So we jogged it all, and working with Jeff, we narrowed the building down to 94. Where were we at?
We
Was
were
it
at, 98 was the last go-around.
Yeah, 98 was the last go-around. We narrowed the building down to 94, which is what Chatham is, right?
Correct.
Wide.
94 wide.
94 wide. And then, jogged the building. And we also, by reducing spaces in this, we made this building shorter. So we narrowed it, we shortened it, we jogged it, we canopied it.
this is probably the area that we'll have to really think about.
So what's the total reduction? Square
About
foot?
Well,
40
4,500
The whole building.
reduction in the
Just
building.
45.
2,000 on the garage.
About 2,000 on the garage. Yeah. And again, this is the brush we did last week,
Yeah?
and
Yeah.
we're not done, it's.
So if to get to our $10 million number, all in, this would probably be the place where we could find the most, if we're going to reduce it. But I know that gets at you. I mean, this is, obviously you're doing a really good job in these other areas, condensing, moving, making it happen. So I'm sensitive to the fact that this is really important to you.
Important to the fleet, but yes.
Yeah,
And
no, yeah,
operational.
important to the fleet,
And
yeah.
operationally, to the staff
And,
and
and
everything else.
and I appreciate the fact that you're looking at a 15-year versus a 10-year. That's really
Talk
great.
about that,
Yeah, we're
sure.
talking about that. But, with a 1,300 square foot facility that we just saw, I mean, granted, they got to do a lot of packing in there, and they got to make that happen. That's about the size, we would take about, 40% off of this.
Third, is that what you said?
Yeah, about a third.
I think to hit the number that people are going to be comfortable with, I think we have to look at it from all sides, not just square footage. But I was looking at the $17.5 million estimate today. That's old now. And
Yeah.
looking at the components of it, and I was just talking with Jeff a little bit ago, whispering over to him. I need to go through now with him and really fine tune that number. Because what's in there? You've got some costs in there that may not be applicable based upon the work that the committee's done so far. So I think there's a lot of different areas we need to really look at and focus and start fine tuning this. And honestly, I think the decision to recommend 170 to the Board of Selectmen, that all came about of how, a way of fine tuning numbers and reducing the sticker shock. Because there's $1 million plus in contingencies.
Right.
That we can shave with
Right.
better, all it is knowledge that we're not gonna waste because we're gonna use it for design.
That's right. So, me personally, if you can get this at 10 million, the project, then this building's fine. But it seems this is where, if we're, at 14, 13, this is where it's, it's gonna get tough. So it's, it'd be important for us to know that. So rather than commenting on this, or, because I myself don't see any way of shrinking this or doing anything or saying anything else, but if push comes to shove, this is, the other things are essential. This is essential too, but it's versus having the ability to drive in and drive out or pack it, It's either Chatham or Dennis, right? Chatham's drive and drop. The advantage of Chatham is they had some money from the outside, and they built it really effectively because Jeff helped them do that, or drive in and drive out. So I think this is something we have to.
We're moving in progress, we're making
We are
progress.
we're making great progress. You guys, I'm really impressed with how much work you did. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this is definitely going in the right direction here. Really minor
Very
point.
impressive, isn't it?
Yep.
I think it represents. There must be a lot of hours in this. Good work, Tom.
Minor point,
And Jeff,
Yeah, believe me, there's a whole
everybody.
group of
Thank you.
people working on that.
thanks.
supporting that mezzanine, I mean, am I looking at columns like every 8 feet? Or 10 feet? Is
Those
that-
are the, graphically.
Okay.
We would be spanning those 24,
Like okay.
24 feet
Okay.
at least, so you have plenty of room to get in and out. It's
Right.
just a graphic representation.
How expensive is it for the overhang? Like, what is your?
It's not very expensive at all, primarily because we're reusing the primary frame, and all we're doing is a beam and a column.
So why don't we go all the way down?
You could.
It's height though, isn't it? Is it height?
With regard to, this, you wouldn't
All
have
the
the
way down,
depth.
which way? I'm sorry,
Use this
which way?
way.
Yeah, but all the way. I mean, why don't we move all the way? Why don't we use the whole building?
Oh, you mean the canopy on the outside?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And make
All
it,
right.
because this could be smaller equipment out here and bigger stuff down here, and, if it's cheap, we could, use that. I'm just wondering why, if it's, because that's, protection's protection, right?
Yeah, we'll keep,
I don't know, you
you
guys
actually
are
just
the
gave me a good
engineers.
idea on something, so that's something I'll look
Okay.
at something.
And that would be likely Sanders?
What, for
Tons of
cold?
things.
And
We get a lot of stuff we're stuffing out in cold. I mean, it's
No,
all
I mean,
season
but in those overhang places, I mean,
Would you put the sander inside?
Not right now.
The diesels.
During the winter it
Yeah.
is, but not during the summer.
Okay,
You're
yeah.
gonna go in a cold storage,
Right.
underneath somewhere in a cold storage.
The biggest challenge that we faced with cutting the vehicle storage garage, and this is a good exercise, I think, that we see happen a lot too, is it's the most inexpensive space to construct, so it takes a big cut to make a big financial impact on the bottom line.
Right.
So that's the only
Yeah.
challenge. You're always chasing it, trying to get the number down, and that's probably the most inexpensive space.
when you
to
guys
construct.
work on these numbers, can you segregate,
Yes.
say, the service bay,
Absolutely.
admin, and then cold storage? I mean,
Yep.
warm
Yeah.
storage?
Yeah, that'll give you guys a good way to understand
Yeah.
the impact
Yeah.
of each of the spaces. I'll
Probably,
make
I
sure
would
that,
guess you'd do the same thing with the wash bay, too.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll do
No,
that.
there's probably not a lot we can, I don't see us making much changes or reduction. It wouldn't be smart to do, to micromanage that. But, I mean, this just might be, just something, it might be the only thing we can cut off.
Right, right.
We're not cutting off the steak, we're cutting off the bread, but,
Yeah.
we got to take a look at it.
And I think the site, I really want to focus in on the site and see what I can come up with there
Okay.
with my staff to see if there's some savings that can be had that
Sure.
that might be overestimated there. So
Have you seen any innovative overhangs that, does it just open like they were doing in Dennis? Is that the way to do it, just so it's coverage on top from rain, snow, anything else, but
Yep.
Simplest
no
geometry,
sides?
just continue the roof surface right
Yeah,
out.
straight across.
Right,
That's what
but
we're
there's no
doing.
side, there's no front, there's nothing?
I've been doing the sides, and I've been insulating both the roof and the sidewalls.
Yeah.
So that if you do
Yeah.
decide to enclose it, you don't have to take out what's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't cost, that's
Yeah.
negligible. But for
Yeah,
the
I
most
agree with
part,
that.
as long as you're careful about locating those columns so that you can frame indoors at some point.
Yeah,
and
sure.
take that into account.
That's a good idea.
The other key is plumbing it. So some of the facilities we've done where that was a bid alternate, we, under the base bid, will plumbing and just stub it on the exterior wall.
Sprinkler plumbing?
Yep, sprinkle and underground for floor drains.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
And that way, anything you do to enclose in the
great.
future. So some
That's really
really
good.
creative ways of making that space flexible, as Dennis said, to make your space real
Now,
flexible.
one thing we could do, oh, sorry, go ahead, Ron.
You know, just from a construction standpoint, if you really have that space, why wouldn't you just make it a straight rectangle and then shorten up your column spacing, you know? To me, from a construction standpoint, I wouldn't put a jog, I would just bring the building over.
Well, we're trying to,
Shorten up the column spacing if you're really trying to find that space.
interior finished space is interior finished space. I know it's garage space,
Yeah,
but
if
it's
you're talking
still,
about extending the roof over. if you
Anyways.
put the roof
Yeah.
over, just put the,
So if we do
yeah.
this,
Oh, you mean leave the columns all the way out there? Is that what you
Well,
suggested?
you know, you're saying about extending the roof out, just make it a big old rectangle, and, you know, get it to a simple shape.
well, I think,
Jogs out of the building.
yeah,
it could just cause expense for
I
John.
think we're getting
Dogs
critical.
does.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, that's just, you know, food for thought. I mean,
Yeah.
the concept is there, and, you know, the cleaner the shape, I think
Yeah.
the easier
Yeah,
it is
the
to
more
build.
boxier it is.
Now, if we were to bring this down, right, the building, just for the future, not for now, but if we were to bring this smaller building and make this space ready, we could actually, later on, make this, like, as an example, the pickups could go out there, or something else, if we had enough space out there. So as we bring it down, we could actually, I think it was a really good idea that Jeff said, we could actually have a second, finished garage later on, if we
Yeah,
decided we needed that.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I have some thoughts that you guys are feeding that I'm thinking about in Ron's. I mean, one of the reasons the jog went in and was because, the minimum width was the 94 feet, because you get the large trucks, backing out and all that stuff. So you need a minimum of 94 to make those swings. And, and we're thinking about, okay, the committee's concerns about heated versus cold, definitely prefer cold over heated, obviously. So the less heated area by jogging it in, the better, and you know what I mean? So, but again, the conversation is good. I've got a couple of thoughts I want to review now with Jeff, and actually maybe we can narrow this up a little bit and do the overhangs. But on the overhangs, on that side,
Yeah.
that's the side of the landfill. We are restricted on our site because of the landfill. So
Okay.
if we
About
start going more square, we might have to move the building away from the landfill. So I'm just letting you, not that we can't, I'm just gonna let you know that's
Yeah.
a factor in our
Exactly.
decision-making
I
process.
think we understand you now got to place it.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, that gets us to that additional scope of work as far as soil testing,
Right.
and I would think some preliminary site plan so that we could
Right.
We have
determine
that. Yeah.
radiuses and
We do have
driving areas and that kind of thing now. I mean, the fuel depot and all the rest of that. How much history do we have down there engineering-wise? I mean, are we doing topos and topos and topos again? I mean, or is
We
there,
talked about it last night, right?
is there,
Well, I mean, for a project like this, the cost of the survey for this project is minuscule. You're going to resurvey. An engineering firm is not going to go out there and go, okay, I'll use, existing.
somebody else's topo? Yeah, I
Or the
understand.
GIS topo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Oh,
great.
yeah, I know that.
It's great for planning and getting right to design, but when you go to design, you're going to survey it, survey the pipes, the infrastructure.
It's going to have to be an as-built as of today.
Yeah, and the cost of it compared to the
Yeah.
cost of the project.
Right.
A consultant's just going to throw it in because they're going to
Yeah.
require it. I mean, if I was the designer, I'm surveying it,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, we're going to have to at some point. Do it now,
Right.
do it later.
Right, but it's not a big area, it's wide open, it's
Yeah.
a cheap survey.
Yeah, okay.
The heat, what do you think are the costs for heating a building like this? Now that we're not doing air, there's no air exchange. You're
Right.
just doing radiant heat.
Right.
We're keeping it at 45.
Yep.
Is the heat cost that much? Have we gotten to a point, because I know Mike was concerned about that heat, and I'm concerned about the heat, but is that something that we're barking up the wrong tree for an operational cost?
No, actually, I thought that was a really big tell today, in that each
each one of those individual offices you looked in, they had those, quartz heaters on the floor.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
talking about the garage.
Talking about the shop.
Oh, okay.
Talking about the radiant heat
Yeah.
in the garage. What is our cost going to be to run those radiant heats on an
It's,
annual basis, you think?
I don't have it broken down by area. Typically, we do energy and modeling, but if you look at a facility of this type in a cost per square foot basis, it's a lot cheaper than
Right, I'm thinking about just the garage.
just the garage. I don't have that information.
Okay, because that's
now.
something that we'll have to
Yeah.
take a look at. I mean, we don't need it right now, but it's
Yep.
helpful to know, because that's the only thing, no one's going to argue about heating the administrative office.
Right.
Right?
Right, yeah.
But
garage,
heating this, we say, wait, it's $10,000 a year to heat this space. If it's $150,000 a year,
No.
you know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you this, I did a cost-benefit analysis for heat versus engine block heaters,
Yeah,
and it's less expensive to use
Radiant
radiant tube heaters than it
Yeah.
is engine block heaters. We went out and we got the draw from the vehicles, we used current energy charges, and it's a very cost-effective way of heating the space.
the radiant,
Well,
because it
yeah,
actually
the
heats the
radiant.
vehicle itself.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great.
I thought you made a very valid point today, and that was by the time you get in with makeup air or ventilation air, then you're dealing with a much, much more efficient process.
And in reality,
Absolutely.
we're actually not heating the space, we're heating the vehicle.
Right.
Right.
That's the important
That's the
thing.
advantage
that's what
of
we're gonna
radiant.
say.
Some people have trouble grasping that, but when you've been out there, and you guys probably felt those radiant tube
Yeah.
heaters,
Yeah.
that is radiating
Yeah.
heat. And the air gets heated through the process, but that's not what it's intended
Exactly.
to do.
I think people
It's a-
understand the radiant heat.
yeah.
They've had them in their houses and
Yeah.
everything, so that's the way we would present it, because
Yeah,
that's the
it's
truth.
Very effective.
Is it's radiant on the vehicles.
Right.
And it's just for vehicle rate. We're not heating this building, we're
Correct.
radiating,
Right.
heating only for 3 months a year.
Right, right. And you felt that garage we were in. It was, in Dennis, that was
cold.
kept cold.
Yeah.
And that's.
That was less
that
than, I didn't
system-
want to, but, when you see your breath, it's not 50 degrees.
Right.
Yeah, no, it was cold.
Yeah, it was about 43.
Yeah, so but that's not much. I spent a lot of time in the 50-degree garages at measuring vehicles. It's cold, but it's great for the vehicle, so
Yeah.
it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot of energy that's consumed in that space.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot of energy to buy one of those. I mean, really, you're just
Right.
buying one, shoving it in the top, hook it up, you're all, because it's,
Yeah.
is it electric or is it?
It's
are they-
natural gas.
It's natural gas. Okay, so that's great.
Yeah.
From your operations guy here, okay, so you got the vehicles, they're in the protected space, it's snowing out to beat the band, you know what I mean? You're not coupling up plows in the dark, in the snow, you're in the garage, there's some temperature to it, it's not,
Yeah.
10 degrees and howling.
Yeah,
out
we're there with you.
You know
It's
what I
not
mean?
blowing.
It's
Excellent,
more,
excellent.
it's quicker for the staff, it's safer for the staff.
Yeah.
It's more efficient, it's less overtime.
Yeah, we're getting to a better point here.
And it's
I
in
got
a
I got a
lighted-
big question here on both this building and the police building. Because we're in the municipal buildings, can we hook up gas with the moratorium on gas hookups? We got a 7-year moratorium, and nobody's really brought up the point of where we're getting our energy from.
That will be a factor if this building sees the
No,
light
it's
of
going to
day
be a factor
before.
for every
Yeah.
building.
Yeah. Was that just implemented like a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Six
Not even-
months.
and it's gonna-
hit me
it was
hard.
this
It's going to
fall.
be another 6 months.
What'd one do?
We got it in just in time.
I thought they were making exceptions, so I read
Well,
They might.
we're allowing some hookups.
That's something we probably should do some investigation on.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
going to be, and the police, somebody might want to,
I would think the police, because a gas user already,
They'll be all right.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And they could be using the same amount of gas based on, efficiency of equipment and
Yeah,
all the
less.
rest of that. I mean, it could be,
The service going down Godiah Hill, you even wonder if it's size big enough for the building. I think we've got to take a look at that one.
yeah.
yeah.
Maybe we can run a line from the police station over to Godiah.
Now, if that's not, can you do natural and then when you turn it on?
Do
Yeah,
propane.
yeah, you can do propane,
propane,
you
yeah.
can just switch it over. Yep,
Okay.
we've done that before.
I'd want to be paying attention to some of the HVAC stuff in the admin building too, because like I said, that tell today, and that's not an
Right.
unusual situation where everybody's having their own quartz heater. I mean,
Yeah.
that just doesn't,
I agree. That hurts me when I go out and
Yeah.
see that. It's
Here?
painful to see people
Yeah.
have to use that. And I can tell you from the buildings that we've been doing recently, we don't have that same problem. So
Yeah.
something that we've addressed with our consultants that we use for mechanical, and it really comes down to spending a lot of time with the town, the end user, to understand what type of system we can provide, where people can be located, and
Right.
how to really provide the controls and get that heat to where the staff is.
Right.
So there's some much better systems that we're using
Right,
now.
I mean, obviously, there's the efficiency as well as just the morale of
Right.
the help.
Right.
We need to
So,
get back.
we're going to keep, what's that? Hank,
You do have a
that's what I-
solar array.
No,
You can be chairman. You want to be chairman? Then don't tell me to, don't tell me for me. I know my job, okay? I find it a little bit offensive to have you tell me that,
Yeah.
okay? I don't want to hear it. The number 7.
I'm sorry, we got a quick comment.
Just one thing
Oh, sorry,
about
go ahead.
HVAC. He's fighting the battle, everybody's fighting the battle. In theory, state buildings should be at 68 degrees in the wintertime. We tried that here, the phone is just going off, people are just going nuts.
Yeah.
They're freezing to death, and then the phone stops, because then they realize WB Mason sells unit heaters.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, exactly.
It's a battle you're gonna fight with staff. Now, down at a DPW building where it's maybe a different demographics than this, I guess that's a good political way to say it. Maybe you get less unit heaters, but you got them here too.
No, half of this building is going to have that demographic in it, you know? I mean, this is.
Is there, for radiant heat in the floor, we're talking about, that's one thing we touched on, but should we talk about that now, or is that inappropriate?
No, I think it's a great option. I put it, we did a job in Charlton. They wanted a very cost-effective building. A lot of people are afraid of radiant heat. Oh, it's so much money. It's really not that expensive. They love it.
Well, except you got to be real careful about it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, the
design-wise,
installation,
so,
yeah, the installation, making sure you get all the tubes tested.
Yeah,
before you
nothing
pour the
comes up in 20
concrete.
minutes.
Right, right. But it's tremendous.
Yeah.
And just to be out there, and we put it in the office area, no complaints there, and we put it in the maintenance bay. We talked about that, I think, walking around.
Right.
You know, you put your hand on the floor. And that's really a primary heating source that you can consider.
What's the extra cost in that?
Probably about 25% would be, at least on a residential.
Yeah, I don't have that off the top of my head, but because I have the scheduled values from that project, I'll pull that out and let you know.
Okay. That'd be
But
great.
it was not a major
Okay,
impact.
good. Something else we
You're
need to
doing
look
it to limited areas.
So I think we're taking a look at equipment replacement schedule, number 6, because I think we've done pretty much everything else. I don't know if we have to number 5, the vehicle fleet information, you addressed that, number 6?
It's 5 and 6 are kind of together.
Okay,
So you want me to pass it out?
sure.
You wanted stuff, you're getting it.
We are. You've been a busy man.
I know it's a little small, it'll take 2 seconds to explain it. I thought it was better than 6 pages of spreadsheets.
And you got farther than 50 years?
Taped together.
God.
But it's really you only have to look at a couple of numbers. You did wrong, right?
That's good, because after that, we'll be blind.
I can't see.
What's going on?
Killing me, Tom.
Oh, I don't know.
Couldn't you put on that, like, don't you have a big plotter, you could have made a scroll?
All right.
It's just like the home.
So,
Bus and-
you may
I mean,
recall,
magnifying glass.
all right, you may recall this little thing you saw before, this spreadsheet.
Yes, yes.
Hot
Yeah,
and
all the
cold
colors, yeah.
storage and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so where this all came from is we have our vehicle replacement capital schedule. It's like a 5-year plan or whatever it is, 5 to 10, I forget. That we roll forward every year, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, and work with the town administrator, and I'm sure he forwards it up to the board of selectmen, and this stuff goes, right? Some of the information goes to town meeting, you know.
Yeah.
Some of these, most of these are in the operating budget. Some of the big ticket items, like the loader, is not, because it's a big ticket item. But this is where it kind of starts, okay? So what I did was, I actually talked with Dave Withrow, finance director, on the best way of doing this, because, the question, as I understood it, was, what happens with the vehicle replacement schedule if you're telling us, Tom, hey, vehicles last longer, if they're indoors and et cetera, well, what are you going to do for us?
That's right.
It comes down to the buck. I mean, I understand that.
That's us.
So what I did was I took the 5 or 10 year thing, and I actually kind of matched it up to the hot and cold one to say, okay, it was in outdoors, it's now in, so what is, you know what I mean? So I did a little bit behind it, and I threw it out there 50 years, assuming that we're in this place in 2019. Based upon 2018 finance, whatever.
Right.
Wait, and first of all, for everyone watching this, it's 50 year. This is a estimate 50 years out here.
Yeah.
Okay, I put a 2.5% inflation rate on this as we went down the road. Okay, so the first page, but now we're going to get to the short answer.
Yeah.
The first page says equipment replacement schedule existing. So right now, as we are, no new facility. If it's outside, it's outside. If it's in, it's in. And I went and talked to the managers. What is in right now? What is out right now? Where is it in cold? Is it in hot? Is it sitting out in the back porch? Okay? Went through all that to kind of put this together. This actually was probably the biggest thing of
Yeah.
effort in the last 2 weeks on my end personally. Right? So then, and so if you look on the bottom right, there's this little number down there.
That's the one we want to
That
see.
says $29,936,000. That
That's
is
right.
the value of, based upon this schedule, based upon our existing kind of replacement, like we replace a small pickup in 10
Yep.
years and a
Yep.
larger pickup in 12 years and, a backhoe in 15, things like that.
Right.
Our current, so based upon the existing, kind of what we're doing, in the next 50 years, we're going to buy $29.9 million worth of equipment.
Yeah,
Okay. And this is the only piece of equipment that are housed at this potential facility.
yeah.
Okay, then the next one is, okay, we build a new facility, what happens?
Yes,
So instead of 10 years for a Ford Ranger,
yeah,
it's 12 years.
yeah.
If it's, 12 years for a 1-ton, it's now 15 years. If it's a 6-wheel or a backhoe, we're going to be at 18 years. So basically, and actually Jeff, I talked to Jeff about this a little bit, in his experience, and I'll just say, my impression talking to Jeff is an extra 3 years. You know what I mean, for a big truck or something like that. So
Yeah.
so I bumped everything out, and I even looked at boats, but but like hours on motors on boats. Well, you know something, an hour is an hour. It's not going to change if it's indoors or outdoors. It's a
Right.
public safety piece of equipment. I didn't change that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I did that. But the new number, and the short version is, the new number is 26.6. So it's basically $3.5 million over 50 years. And that again is an estimate. And it's just a first,
That's the number we can work with.
it's a first cut.
Yeah.
It's just a first look-see.
Now we're getting to an ROI.
It can
This
get,
is what I
it can
like.
get fine-tuned.
Yes.
Okay? It can be looked at closer. It can't go too crazy because it's a 50-year estimate, but we can fine-tune it some more and have some more conversation and thought into
The
it.
thing is, this is, that's great work. So thanks for doing that.
Actually, it's a nice
question?
exercise.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So, how are we going to pay for this project?
What project?
I want to know, we're going to write a mortgage for 20 years, or are
Can we
we going to
bond?
get a bond
Yeah.
for,
Has to be, I think,
for how long?
30 years.
I don't think it's
Go ahead.
decided.
Ron has that.
It's gonna be in our vehicle stabilization fund.
No,
Vehicles, he's talking
He's talking about the overall project.
He's talking about facility.
Yeah.
Talking about the facility.
Okay,
Yeah.
facility is bonding.
And,
Was that
and what
like
will
a-
be the life of that bond?
We don't know yet. We have to talk to David, but it's probably 20 or 30 years.
Okay. So, and this is just me thinking out loud, don't know nothing. It would seem to me, if you were going to go to town hall, that you would, I think when you start talking about 50 years out, people's eyes are going to glaze over. But I think if you talk in terms of the bond payback and what's going to happen in that time frame, which is 20 years, people can relate to that. So I think even if you come back with a smaller number, I think it should relate
Okay,
to
good point.
the length
Life
of the bond.
Yeah, I
That's
think
good.
that's a really valid point.
Because that's really all that matters.
I had the
Yeah.
laptop, I could do it in 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I can give
okay,
you
but
that.
I'm just saying.
Right, it's a good point.
Yeah,
I think 50 years out is just, people know that's bullshit, that ain't gonna work.
yeah, exactly.
But
And I'm not paying
they can
$123,000
at least
for a pickup
relate.
truck.
Did you notice that?
They
Think
can at
about
least
that.
relate, I think, to the length of the bond.
Did you increase the pricings of these?
Yeah, 2.5% interest rate.
2.5% each
Interest
year?
Each year. I can change the interest rates. I can do whatever you want. It was a number.
Okay.
PEs think they're God.
Escalated.
That's actually better for the number at the end, but
Right.
that's fine. How do we keep, yeah, so if we're going to go for 30 years, I would probably use a 30-year number.
Yeah, it's easy.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy enough.
Whatever, whatever the bond,
Well, we don't, see, as Mr. Fuller said, we don't know, and we're not going to know.
Yeah, but we
Those decisions aren't
can
made
put
for
out,
now,
we can
but
say,
make it for-
But you could
estimate
say,
for a year.
you know,
I'll give you
give them
20
a
into it.
20-year
I have no
bond.
problem
that's-
saying that.
That's what.
I would talk in 20-year terms so
Yeah.
that people can at least relate to
What you
that.
would do is, you'd say a 20-year bond at 4% would be this, at 5%
Right,
would be
right,
this.
right.
You give a couple of different
Yeah,
percentages.
and over the course
But
of
what
20
percent
years,
is it-
we're going to save X number of dollars with this.
What percent does the town pay now for
this
bonds?
unheated garage.
I don't know.
I think it's,
But a lot
couple
of
percent.
You're not gonna get into the bond until at least a year after construction, you'll be on a bond anticipation note, which right now are 0.5%.
That's right, yeah, exactly. So, yeah,
So you won't start paying the bond until a year after it's finished.
so this is an ROI item, which is really good, that we can use as a fact. Whether or not we get enough, dollars out of it, this is great. So we need more of these. I think that,
This is just one piece, just vehicle
Yeah.
replacement. There's other aspects to this, but that's
but
just.
as long
one
as we can,
piece.
as long as we can, a wise person would look and say, yeah, that's logical. We can find 5 or 6 of those pieces. Efficiency's hard, gas
I
is.
think
gas-
fuel is a legitimate
Yeah.
It's
argument.
an interesting concept.
Yep.
I like that.
So we'll start
And
looking
building
at that.
efficiency, I think, is a legitimate argument in
Yeah,
terms of
building, yeah.
one building versus a slew of buildings. Maintaining
What's
one
the
building
gas
instead.
Is that something-
We talked about that in the past, just,
Okay.
how much is it costing us with all the extra travel? You know what I mean?
10% of our gas
Right.
budget is used for
Yeah.
just running around.
Actually, I have a
You have-
format already set up. I just did that for another community, so if you.
Send it over, I can
Yeah.
fill in the blanks.
Okay, yep.
And I think a reasonable number, we were talking about this, but, we're not putting this, but 3% is probably the inefficiency in fuel now for DPW because of the different sites.
Yeah.
Does that fit for you, Jeff?
For,
Basically, because everything's all spread out, because everybody
Yeah.
has to run around in
Yeah,
different
but I think
trucks. and
Tom's
things.
going to have to sit down with staff and talk about that.
on a percentage of their daily
Yeah.
workflow,
Yeah.
I'd have to look at that.
Okay.
I'd like to be a little more specific. I'd like to do some work with staff and do some real thought to that.
Yeah.
Good.
How much time, typical day, where you going, what are you doing? Da, 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 da.
Okay.
The whole spreadsheet actually was a nice exercise on my end also, from the standpoint of projecting vehicle replacement. I mean, we know kind of where they'll fall, but also the cost, like, this town will say, okay, we're gonna throw 30,000 at this vehicle, but then we're not gonna, we don't fund it, and then we wait 3 years, let's put 30,000 back in. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You don't spend 30 now, you're spending 35 later. It's the way life is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this kind of helps with that
Good.
projection.
Good.
Again,
That's
we
great.
can tweak it any way we want.
Okay, great.
Whatever people
Plumbing-
think is reasonable.
Number 7, plumbing code options.
We
We're gonna forget about that.
I
Yeah,
think
I don't-
from a public record standpoint,
Yeah.
the only thing, did I not make copies? Okay, I didn't make copies.
I don't think we need to we even, I don't want, it's just a sinkhole. We'll just forget about that.
Wait, just one quick question there. I'd like to just complete the thought here. Yeah, and I would agree. It doesn't seem to be terribly productive area for us to challenge. I mean, we're going to spend $3,000 going through a variance process for a $7,000 shower. It's still going to make me nuts to go into this building, 10 years from now and find out that the shower's full of file boxes.
It's an office. We're gonna take the files that we're gonna turn into an office and we'll put them in the shower.
Yeah. Just as a quick question, as an aside, how did you populate? Is that by actual, we'll say we have 2 mechanics in the vehicle bay.
Yeah.
How did you populate that number of fixtures? I mean, is that,
Plumbing code will dictate it.
okay, but that's by occupancy.
Right.
Did you use an occupancy load by the building code, or was that?
No, I don't use the egress occupancy load, which a lot of people do, and that'll require you to have way too many. So we do it based on the occupant load of the user. who's
Actual
using-
user,
Actual
okay.
user, yeah, and we include projection.
Okay.
So that's what.
And you're actually, and so you're determining what that is, because there's nothing either in the building code or the plumbing code that designates, would certainly give a closer designation to this type of use. I mean, we're in
No. Yeah, that's the-
industrial warehouse,
Right.
parking garage, I mean, and that goes everywhere from 500, per square, 500, 1 per 500 to
Right.
1 to 100, I think.
Right. Yeah, it's, the thing with the plumbing code is it doesn't tie into the building code, so it's very difficult. A lot of people use the building code egress load to come up with fixtures, and it would be out of control because
Yeah.
the two don't relate.
Right.
So, yeah, we use the occupants of the building.
I think we might have an argument that you could win here, but again, my fear would be we'd spend, $4,000 or $5,000 going through that
Okay,
process.
Right.
So let's kill it.
Yeah, okay.
That's because we only got 18 minutes.
Yep.
Temporary cold storage, we went over that last time.
Uh,
We don't need it. Number 8. right? It's
Yeah.
on the agenda, but it doesn't need
Oh,
to be.
we've already killed it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
We've already
The
fixed
hours
it.
of work?
Number 9.
We fixed it.
Review of energy savings calculation.
Mr. Chairman.
No, Joe said, the energy savings calculations, I think you were gonna work more, there was more things that were coming together
Yeah,
on that.
I'm not ready to talk about,
Okay,
just because.
So that has to be on the next agenda,
Yeah, I don't know when I'll be ready for that. That's a
Okay.
little complicated, but that's all right.
okay?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the next agenda, unless anybody else has anything else they want to go on. Let's talk about the next agenda for next time.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm confused about where we stand with the $170,000 figure for the, I
Good
guess
point.
it's an RFP. We're going to have to put out a separate RFP for that work, or is that
Yep.
part of the existing? I'm a little confused about that, and the only reason I'm concerned about it is I think we may want to spend some of that upfront money in order for these guys to be able to give us more accurate quote or a more accurate estimate on building costs.
But we don't have a formal agreement for additional professional services from
Yeah.
Weston and Sampson.
So that's what my question is, where do we stand on this?
So basically, we have to, the next stage, okay, has to go out to bid. We're basically at the end of our funding for any services from Weston, okay?
Okay.
As far as I've heard from John, he said the next phase, I think Ron, you probably heard this too, the next phase has to go out to bid. So what we have is we have booked in there 170, and we have to think, you know,
Not to exceed.
what's that going to include? Go ahead.
Just to add, I don't think that money's even available to spend until July 1.
No, it isn't, and that was the point.
170
They
wouldn't be
couldn't put-
available.
Not available to July 1.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they couldn't put together an RFP
That's
soon
right.
enough to do.
That's right.
Right.
So basically,
So that's a
that's-
moot issue then.
Right now.
that is the next
Immediately
stage.
it is.
But that's something we need to
Yeah.
think about.
And I-
Yes, that's the next stage, and we've got to really hone on that. So we've got to spend some time in the next meeting, maybe take a look at that, get to better know that a little bit better.
Okay.
Look over their proposal.
Yeah, okay, because that was my understanding last night, that the selectmen were looking for a more detailed scope of work from us
For the 170.
for that 170.
Right.
That's correct.
We don't have the time today to do that.
Obviously, right.
So
Yeah,
next-
next meeting.
Next meeting, we can do
Need
that.
to get on it, though.
Right.
Yeah.
We do need to get on it.
Right.
So, do we want to meet next Wednesday or Thursday? And that would be one of the key items.
Can I, when do you guys want input? When do you really need input? By when on this?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Printed in the warrant, it's gonna be here by April 1st.
April 1st.
That would be 2 weeks from
It's gonna
yesterday.
be printed in the warrant.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, we don't want to come in with something that's not printed in the
Well,
warrant.
the
No,
question
that's
is
what
what
John-
needs
No,
to
what
be
I'm
in the
getting at,
warrant.
if they print 170 and you come up with 150.
Right.
we bring it
Oh,
up
170 is our number.
floor,
Yeah, we know we can get it done for 170.
Yeah, 170, but we want to have an explanation in there, right? So we gotta figure out what it's all going to
But
be.
if you come up with a lower figure,
Right.
Let me get my calendar.
we can, we talk about that at town meeting when we.
Actually, you know, coming back through my haze of sickness, I think that Alan said you guys might want to sharpen your pencil on this. Is that correct? Do you remember hearing him saying that? That Alan said you might want to sharpen your pencil on this because he really saw 80,000 or about that number in fees. You remember when Alan was speaking about the 170? Go ahead,
I
Ron.
think the 80,000 was to do that test of the soil.
Correct, there was 2 different phases, that's
Right.
correct. We do need the 70,000 to,
to.
so these,
It
right,
might be done.
correct.
Okay.
Right.
So what do you guys think about,
Yeah, talk about the scope.
so this is our question now. Do we want to, and I don't know if we have enough time or if you want to spend longer. Does everyone end at 6:30? Do
Yeah, I tell you, I think this is,
you want to end at 6:30 first of all?
yeah, I do.
Do you want to end at 6:30?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I think this is something that we should put on as agenda item and spend a proper amount of time with.
Okay.
I
The
agree.
next meeting,
Yeah.
next Wednesday or Thursday,
Yeah.
okay?
Probably
So-
the first thing on the agenda.
Yeah,
So,
Thursday?
yeah.
If I may,
Thursday.
Dan,
Yes, Ron.
I think what they're looking for, you're gonna say you need 80,000 to
John.
test the soil, you need 30,000 to see if the fuel depot can go here and all of that stuff.
Okay.
That's what they're looking for, is to break down the 170.
I think we can do that because their scope of services did
break itself.
Break everything
itemize,
down.
sections to it. So I think we can arrive at
Jeff,
a
you have
close
time?
number that way.
Can you be here next week?
Yeah, I can do Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's everybody for
Ask a
Thursday?
question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Relative to what John just said about the depot, the fuel depot,
Yes.
do we even care about that? Other than to make sure it fits on the site?
Yeah.
No, it has nothing to do with us. It's actually Tom's project.
No, I think the only point is that we need to, on these additional services, we need to make sure that we get basic site plan
Yes.
Yes.
done,
Yes.
so that we can set an elevation
Yes.
or whatever for the
Right,
fuel depot,
okay,
and
fair
that's
enough.
that.
Okay.
That's
It's
right.
gonna go in that area,
Right,
and
that's
that's
it.
all we want to
Exactly,
do.
that's a good point.
But we don't have to do borings and
No, no,
design?
no.
All
Well,
right.
the borings that'll get done will be used for,
The building.
for foundation work for
Right.
the fuel depot.
Yeah,
But
one
that's-
set of borings for both pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That'll determine
And-
everything out there.
And I think that someone else made a good point of the fuel depot is going to be built before the building. We have to keep our eye on the fact, and I'm sure Tom's very good at this, making sure that the guys bringing in the girders aren't like, hey, I can't get in here.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's a logistical problem, yeah.
Yeah,
right,
no.
But, yeah.
Site's big enough.
Okay, so basically, and then we have to approve the minutes. For next week, I think we should really focus on, primarily, on the energy-saving calculations, which will be second, and review of the $170,000 services for recommendation two.
Now, are
Okay?
we going to ask these guys to fine-tune that, or are we going to go with what we've got?
Fine tune, sorry.
They're going to fine-tune it?
What do you, fine tune what? I'm
The,
sorry.
The $170,000 proposal?
Do you want to?
Are we going to go with what we've got, or?
It's really up to you. I mean, we're flexible. I mean,
Yeah.
we work
Right.
and always,
It's,
So we'll just-
we're not considering this for a bid, obviously.
Yeah,
We're
right.
using it as a,
Yeah.
as a place marker. And for us, the one problem could be if the town said, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, right now, all we can go in is 170. We're not comfortable going under that.
Yep.
Well, I think the
Are
issue
you
is-
comfortable going under 170?
Well, yeah, why not, if we can?
Because, okay. Do you understand why I'm not comfortable going under 170? Because I
No,
don't.
we want to put 170 as a placeholder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
I got a placeholder, yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
my
Right.
feeling is that that's the, that was done based on talking with staff, trying to get everything based on what we know today. So when you get into a point, whether you hire us or hire someone else,
Right.
you negotiate that fee,
Yes.
and you'll be below the 170.
Okay.
I can tell you that
Okay.
if-
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
it came time, if
Yeah.
you were to select us again and we had to sit down and negotiate it, we'd go through the scope in more detail and we say,
Okay.
where can we save? And that's
Right.
what we typically
Yeah.
do.
Okay, that's
And I
good.
think you get that from any consultant.
Okay.
I think what Alan's looking for in the board is.
Scope of work.
Be more specific on what
Correct.
is in the 170.
Scope of work.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Well, he had it right in front of him.
Yeah, that's what.
Right, John? He had all those details. He wanted us to present.
Yeah,
it.
but we didn't make a proper presentation, or we weren't ready to make a proper presentation, apparently.
I thought it was a
No,
great
there really
presentation.
wasn't any discussion. There wasn't
I
any
didn't know he was going to have the report in front of him.
Yeah, really.
Okay, so we'll do that as the next agenda item. Now we've got 8 minutes, approval of minutes. Unless you had something, I'm sorry.
No, I was, no.
Next meeting, can we do it Thursday, 4:30?
Yeah. that was
Everybody agree?
my
Hank, are
question.
you all set with Thursday, 4:30? Mike?
Yep.
Okay, so approval of minutes. and-
26th at 4:30.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we want to thank Pete for taking over for while Hank was vacationing.
Job well
Doing the
done.
minutes. Took him, how many hours did it take you to do this?
Oh, I don't-
How many weeks?
That's why I
But
don't
is
work
it-
as a
are there-
secretary.
So,
Go broke.
I might need a little help on the proper,
I ask for approval of the minutes and the date and the
Yep.
date of the minutes.
okay, motion for approval of the minutes.
Minutes, I'll,
Second?
Second?
Okay.
what's the date?
For March 5th, 2015.
Okay.
Okay.
Got a second?
Second?
Got a second? And now I ask, is there any changes or modifications? Okay, does anyone see any changes or modifications? I read the whole thing and it looked pretty exact to me of what was said. In fact, it was really helpful for me. Anyone else have any changes they want to make? Okay?
Biased.
So, motion to approve the minutes of March 5th, 2015?
All in favor?
No, that's what I say.
No, you made it, Mike seconded it, and now we're going to vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
can't vote, you weren't here.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
So you have to abstain.
Okay, so, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Abstained? 3-0-1. Okay, great. Done.
Can I just ask, you guys approve the minutes, and then what do you get them to the town clerk, and how does that go?
Once you approve it, just take a copy up to the town clerk, she'll
Okay.
stamp them.
Has she got them all? Have we
I
sent
send them over by email.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
That's fine.
Okay.
Here you go, Hank.
Once they're approved.
Want to give her a
Yeah,
copy?
just-
I don't know if I can
Just
do it
wanted
with
to up
these,
to
but I'll
date,
try.
that's all.
Well, you just hand it to her on the way out.
Yeah, she's not there now.
Oh, it's not there. You want me to bring it back by and give it to her?
No, that's right. We'll bring it
Okay. I can do it. If you don't have, if you can't do it, I'll just drop it by.
The PDF, I mean, you can forward it to her.
Yep, that's great. Okay, I motion, so we're getting very close. Any other items for the agenda? I'll put that together and get that posted. This room, we have to find out if it's available. Probably is, because no one's ever here, right? Okay, I motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Done. Great stuff, Tom, once again. Oh, thank you very much. Good night.